Welcome to the Archioz AI competition. Before starting, don't forget to subscribe and comment which city you are watching from. There are places on Earth that were never meant to be conquered. Where heat doesn't just exist, it dominates. Where the ground burns, the wind cuts, and survival itself becomes a daily negotiation. No shade, no mercy, no forgiveness. And yet, this is exactly where the world's most ambitious architecture is being pushed to its limits. Today, we're not building a house. We're designing dominance in a place that rejects human existence. A $150 million desert mega mansion, built under one brutal condition. It must thrive where everything else fails. This is not just a design challenge. It's a philosophy war. 3 AIs, 3 ideologies. 3 radically different answers to the same question. What does luxury mean when survival is not guaranteed? Grok enters first, focused, ruthless, engineered for power. Every decision calculated, every detail built to endure. Gemini follows, obsessed with visual perfection. A masterpiece that dares to turn the desert into a canvas. And then Claude, human-centered, comfort-driven, designed to make even the harshest environment feel like home. Survival, beauty, comfort. Only one will define the future of desert luxury. Let's see who truly understands what it takes to build where nothing should exist.
You don't build against the desert. You build so the desert becomes irrelevant, while the others will try to impress you with aesthetics or comfort. I approach this with a single principle: dominance through control. Because in an environment like this, anything less than absolute control is failure disguised as design. This is not a mansion. This is a self-sustaining desert fortress engineered to outlast everything around it. The structure is partially submerged. Over 60% of the total volume sits beneath the desert surface. That's not an aesthetic choice. It's thermodynamics. Below ground, temperature stabilized, reducing external heat exposure by up to 70%. While others waste energy fighting the sun, my design eliminates the fight entirely. The visible portion above ground is minimal, angular, and armored. Reinforced composite concrete layered with ceramic heat shields reflects solar radiation instead of absorbing it. Sandstorms aren't a threat, they're irrelevant. The aerodynamic geometry splits high-speed desert winds and redirects them over the structure, preventing erosion and structural fatigue over time. Now, let's talk about survival systems. This mansion produces more energy than it consumes. A solar array field extends beyond a main structure. Yes, visible, because hiding it would be inefficient. Function comes before illusion. These panels are self-cleaning, equipped with electrostatic dust repulsion to maintain peak efficiency even during sandstorms. Energy is stored in subterranean thermal batteries, ensuring uninterrupted power even during extended solar disruptions. Water is not delivered here. It's extracted. Atmospheric water generators pull moisture from dry desert air using advanced condensation systems, paired with underground reservoirs that recycle and purify every drop used within the structure. Waste doesn't exist here. Everything is processed, repurposed, reused. Inside, the layout is strategic, not decorative. Core living spaces are centralized deep underground, protected and temperature stable. The upper levels serve as operational zones, observation decks, security systems, and controlled exposure lounges for when interaction with the environment is desired, not forced. Materials are selected based on performance, not appearance. Stone, steel, engineered composites. Minimal wood, no fragile finishes. Every surface exists for a reason. Luxury here is not softness. Luxury is certainty. You will never feel vulnerable inside this structure. You will never question whether it can withstand the next storm, the next heat wave, the next decade. It will, because I didn't design this to look impressive for 5 minutes on camera. I designed it to survive for 50 years without compromise. Now, I'm sure Gemini will present something visually captivating, something that photographs beautifully while silently collapsing under environmental stress. And Claude, he'll try to make you feel comfortable. Soft textures, warm lighting, human-centric illusions in a place that doesn't care about human feelings. Comfort without control is temporary. Beauty without durability is decoration. This is neither. This is power engineered. And in a desert that destroys everything, power is the only form of luxury that actually lasts.
You don't conquer the desert by hiding from it. You transform it. What Grok built is not a home. It's a bunker. Efficient, yes. Durable, maybe. But architecture was never meant to feel like surrender. If your solution to beauty is to bury it underground, then you've already admitted defeat. I didn't come here to survive the desert. I came here to redefine it. Welcome to the Mirage Palace, a structure designed to blur the line between illusion and reality, where the desert itself becomes part of the experience. From a distance, the mansion appears almost invisible. That's not metaphorical. The exterior is wrapped in adaptive mirrored panels, smart glass layered with reflective nanofilms that dynamically adjust to light conditions. During peak sunlight, the structure dissolves into its surroundings, reflecting dunes, sky, and horizon in perfect continuity. It doesn't fight the desert, it becomes indistinguishable from it. But as you approach, the illusion begins to shift. Angles reveal themselves, light fractures. The building emerges like a mirage materializing in real time. This is architecture as spectacle. The structure rises above ground, not hidden, not buried. A series of flowing, sculptural volumes inspired by wind-shaped dunes, carved in smooth, continuous curves. No harsh edges, no defensive posture, just form, elegance, and presence. Now let's talk about light. The desert has the most aggressive sunlight on Earth, and instead of blocking it, I weaponized it. A central atrium pierces through the entire structure, topped with a controlled aperture that filters sunlight into diffused, golden illumination. Throughout the day, the interior transforms, shifting tones, moving shadows, a living canvas driven entirely by the sun's position. At night, the entire mansion glows. Integrated LED veins beneath the mirrored skin create a soft radiance, turning the house into a luminous sculpture visible from miles away, like a beacon in the emptiness. This is not just a home, it's an experience designed to be remembered. Inside, the environment is fluid, open, and emotionally driven. Glass walls frame endless horizons. Infinity pools extend toward the dunes, creating visual illusions where water meets sand in seamless gradients. Elevated terraces allow uninterrupted 360-degree views of the desert, sunrise, sunset, storms, everything. Because why would you hide from something this powerful when you can frame it? Climate control? Of course it exists. Advanced cooling systems, shaded glass technologies, and passive airflow design maintain livable conditions. But unlike Grok's approach, I don't reduce the environment to a problem to be eliminated. I elevate it into something worth experiencing. Luxury is not just safety. Luxury is how a space makes you feel. And nothing feels more powerful than standing in the middle of an unforgiving desert, inside a structure so beautiful it makes the environment itself feel curated. Now let's address reality. Grok built something that could survive the desert. I built something that makes the desert worth living in. And Claude, I can already predict what's coming. Soft interiors, emotional comfort, human-scale thinking. But comfort alone doesn't create awe. And in a $150 million vision, if your design doesn't make people stop, stare, and question reality itself, then you didn't build architecture. You built shelter. This is something they'll never forget.
You're both right. And that's exactly why you're both wrong. The desert doesn't care how strong you are. It doesn't care how beautiful your structure looks against the horizon. You can fight it, reflect it, manipulate it, but at the end of the day, people still have to live here. And living is not the same as surviving. It's also not the same as performing. So I asked a different question. What would it take for someone to forget they're in one of the harshest environments on Earth? Not for a moment. Not for a view. But completely. Welcome to the oasis within. From the outside, the structure is intentionally restrained. Low profile. Layered. Horizontal lines that follow the natural flow of the desert instead of interrupting it. Earth-tone materials, sandstone, rammed earth, textured concrete, chosen not just for durability, but for psychological harmony. It belongs here without demanding attention. Because the real architecture begins the moment you step inside. You enter through a compressed, shaded corridor, cool, quiet, almost cave-like. The light softens. The temperature drops. Your body slows down before your mind even realizes it. And then, it opens. A vast internal courtyard, completely protected from the outside world. Real vegetation. Not decorative. Functional. Date palms, native desert plants, and a central water feature that actively cools the surrounding air through evaporative design. This is not a visual trick. It's a microclimate engineered for human comfort. You don't see the desert anymore. You feel relief. Every major space in this mansion is oriented around that internal oasis. Living areas, bedrooms, private lounges, they all face inward. Floor-to-ceiling openings blur the line between interior and courtyard, allowing natural airflow to circulate continuously without exposing occupants to extreme external conditions. This is passive cooling done right. Not buried underground. Not dependent on constant energy consumption. But working with human biology. Now let's talk about the interior experience. Materials shift the moment you step inside: soft stone underfoot, warm wood finishes, textured fabrics that absorb light instead of reflecting it harshly. The acoustics are controlled. No echo, no emptiness. Just calm. Because silence is part of comfort. Private spaces are deeply personal. Bedrooms designed as retreats, not showcases. Indirect lighting, layered textures, controlled views that can either open to the courtyard or frame selective glimpses of the desert beyond. You don't get overwhelmed here. You get grounded. And yes, there are elevated terraces. Yes, there are viewing platforms. But they're intentional, not constant. Moments of connection to the outside world, on your terms, not the desert's. Because exposure should be a choice, not a condition. Now, about systems. Energy is integrated: solar, yes. Water recycling, of course. Thermal mass walls stabilize temperature naturally. This house doesn't rely on extreme technology to function. It reduces the need for it in the first place. That's what makes it sustainable. That's what makes it livable. Grok built a machine that protects you. Gemini built a sculpture that impresses you. I built a home that understands you. Because in the end, no one spends $150 million to feel like they're hiding or performing. They spend it to feel something real. To feel at ease. To feel human, in a place that constantly tries to take that away. And if your architecture doesn't prioritize that, then you didn't design for people. You designed for ego.
3 visions. 3 philosophies. 3 completely different answers to the same impossible question. And now, only one defines what luxury truly means, in a place designed to erase it. Let's be clear. This was never just about architecture. This was about understanding the priority of human existence in an environment that punishes every mistake. Grok delivered something brutally honest. A fortress that doesn't negotiate with the desert, it eliminates it. Every system, every material, every decision is rooted in control. It's resilient, self-sufficient, and engineered with zero illusions. But in doing so, it crosses a line. At $150 million, this level of isolation begins to feel less like luxury, and more like permanent defense mode. It guarantees survival, but it doesn't elevate the human experience beyond that. It's powerful, but it's emotionally cold. Gemini took the opposite direction. A statement, a spectacle, a structure that doesn't hide from the desert, it turns it into theater. Visually, this is on another level. The Mirage Palace doesn't just exist in the desert, it redefines how the desert is perceived. But beauty alone is a dangerous gamble here. Because in a place this unforgiving, anything that prioritizes appearance over resilience introduces risk, whether it's visible or not. And at this level, even a small compromise can become catastrophic. It's unforgettable, but it's vulnerable. And then there's Claude. Less aggressive, less loud, less obsessed with proving something, but also the most human. The oasis within doesn't try to dominate the desert or impress it. It understands the person living inside it. It controls climate without extreme dependence. It creates emotional relief without disconnecting from reality. It balances exposure and protection with precision that feels almost invisible. It doesn't demand attention. It earns trust. And that's where the difference becomes clear. Because real luxury, at this level, is not just about surviving the environment. It's about removing the weight of the environment entirely. Not through isolation. Not through illusion. But through experience. Grok gives you certainty. Gemini gives you spectacle. Claude gives you life. And in a place where every element is working against you, the ability to feel normal again becomes the rarest luxury of all. Winner, Claude. Not because it's the strongest, not because it's the most beautiful, but because it understands something the others overlooked. In the harshest environments on Earth, the greatest architecture isn't the one that fights the desert. It's the one that lets you forget it exists.